Hello?
Hello? Any question?
Uh,
Watson?
Yeah.
So yesterday the lecture got cut off, so I didn't catch what what we're supposed to do for the assignment that's due tomorrow.
You mean the some back, right?
I like the lecture stopped right after you said that
Yeah.
we should answer so each question and just write the answer below. Kind of.
Professor told me he will. Let me mute everyone. Hold on. Okay. Professor told me like he will go over everything about some tech we are doing yesterday, and so I think he will extend the assignment to next week. Yes. So you don't need to worry about. I think you don't need to worry to submit it tomorrow, right? I think the due date for the original due date is tomorrow, right? Yes. Yeah. So you don't need to submit tomorrow. So Luren, you asked him yesterday. He said due date is tomorrow. Is a bit after the class or after class?
No, I'm talking about the dump track. Dump track. You know the
Some
8
tech, right?
questions. Yeah,
Uh,
that one was supposed to be due tomorrow. Did he extended it? I'm not really sure.
okay, I see. Oh, let me ask him again. So, Luren, you because I can see Luren said from the chat box.
Yes, so yesterday, after the regular lecture, we have the group meeting with professor, and I asked him again. He said that the due date is same as tomorrow, and then he will discuss all materials next Tuesday.
Oh, I see. Okay. So please submit tomorrow, before tomorrow. Due date I think is 12. It's 11:59, right? PM.
There was perhaps no like the link or like format that we are writing it.
So for each question, you only need to write about a few sentences is enough. So there is no very strict format for this time. I think you can read it, finish it by 1.5 page. That is enough, I think. Yeah, because I will grade it. So
So 1.5 page.
yeah, 1.5 page.
Okay.
Yeah, because professor told me, I promise, professor told me like for each question you only need a few sentences, but he said it's no like limit for the how much you need to write down. Yeah, so I think 1.5 page is enough. Okay.
For the thumbtack assignment, where are we supposed to get the information from? Is it from the text or is it from the lecture? Just because I missed lecture yesterday.
He posted kind of like a reading on the.
Yes, it's on the course material week 7. Let me share screen with you guys.
Thank you.
Yes. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so is here week 7 because now it's week 7. Yeah, some tech business model canvas. So read it and then write your answer. The question is on the assignment. So here.
Okay, thank you. And it was just a
Yeah.
couple sentences per question, right? You said.
Sorry.
You said it was a couple question or a couple sentences per question.
Yeah, so I think 2 or 3 sentences is enough for each question. So there is no limit for the how many paragraph you need. So the due date is Saturday is tomorrow, May 16th. Okay. So it's not. I think it's not very hard because yesterday we have discussed during the class. Yeah, so I think everybody is almost done. Okay. Okay. Let's start. So it's same as before. So as very beginning, we recap the chapter 9 and chapter 10. I restructured the the lecture and make it more easier for you to understand what professor was talking during this week. And second thing is like you can, if you have any question about the project, you can ask me. And some students have already like had office hour with me, and also they sent me an email about their concern about the project. So if you have any question, you can ask me here. Oh, moment. So let me open the chat box. Okay. So for chapter 9 is the topic is international strategy. So you can simply you can see there is a 3 question asked us, and if you can answer these 3 questions one by one, and you will understand the topic, and you will be familiar with the question might appear in the final exam. Okay, so the first question, why firms expand internationally? So there is a few reasons. The first one is growth, very easy to understand because sales or the revenue. And the second one is efficiency. So the textbook gave us 3 dimensions. The first one is lower cost resources, like the labor cost, something like that, longer product life. And you can see on right side there a picture of the Volkswagen, and um, so this model is very is called in here is called quantum, or in the Europe is called quantum, but in China is called Santana. So when it first time released is about the early 80 last century. So, but it was the very ending of the cycle of the product life in Europe or here is almost the midterm of the 80s. But it was released in China firstly in 1983 until the ending of the product life in China is until the uh, 2012, so almost 30 years. So that means like so many parts, production or the any process or any way to marketing it is very is almost in the state mature stage in the Europe or in the US, and then they why they expand internationally, they just want to it have a longer product life. Also, like for uh, many smartphone is not very good selling in the European market or US market or even Asian market. They'll be sold into the Africa, and so many people still love it, even though it's like it had very old function or very old design. Yeah, so that's the meaning of a longer product life. It can also help a company to uh, reduce the cost, um, and don't need any money into the R&D and more money from the more cost from the marketing or any channel. Okay, the third one is the economies of scale and scope. It's very easy to understand because if you go internationally, um, that means they will produce more units, so there will uh, the economy of scale will appear. Okay. The third one is managing risk. So that means like when one country has some like economy or natural risk, like the earthquake or economic pandemic. So that means you can use this way to manage your risk. And the next one is knowledge, like because different people in the different corner of the world have different taste, so they will provide you more insights or more taste about the product. So the knowledge about this product to develop maybe into the next generation. If you want to step into this market for the next generation, your knowledge will be accumulated. Okay, so uh, the last one is responding to the customer or competitors, like the big four accounting company. If their customer appear step into the go up globally, so they need to um, step into that country to provide the service. Also, like for the competitors, like Pepsi and Coke. Remember on the very first of the discussion session, the first discussion session, I mentioned the example of Pepsi and Coca-Cola in Soviet Union. During that time, the Pepsi stepped into the Soviet Union market firstly, and then Coca-Cola wanted to have opportunity to step into that market too. Okay. Okay, so the second question for the these chapters where firms should expand. So there are six. So the professor mentioned 6D model from Turkey. So it doesn't exist in the book. So you need to remember it, like because it's my peer in the final exam. Okay, so there are 6 dimensions. The first one is a power distance. That means the individuals in the societies are equal or not. Okay, so for each dimension, for these 6 dimensions, uh, it's about one question or one score of the a country or market. So you need to answer it by the score. Okay, the second one is individualism. It's I or V. Uh, like the people will, the people in the country or the government in the country will, or the culture in the country take the uh, I in the individual in the high priority or we. Yeah. So the third one is masculinity. So it's a competition of quality of life. That means in this country, the people or the culture or the business culture prefers the competition, fierce competition or quality of life. Like for example, um, in Japan or in China, some like Asian market, nowadays the people or the business culture prefers competition. But like in the Northern Europe, like Sweden, like Norway, something like some country like that, uh, they prefer the quality of life. Okay, so the fourth one is uncertainty avoidance. That means whether the future can be known or not. Okay, the fifth one is pragmatism. Uh, that means the culture of this country is more prefers um, have preference on tradition or modern. Okay, so the sixth one is indulgence. That means the culture is indulgent or um, restraint. That means the people in that country can um, love the change when like some new technology or new culture come in, or they want to still prefer the traditional uh, norms. Okay. Any question about this 60 model? Okay. Okay, from the book, also the professor also mentioned it from the book, so where the firm should expand, because uh, we already mentioned the 6D, but there is another model. You can call it a model. The first letter of this model is CAGE, so you can call it CAGE. So the first one is culture distance. That means the different language, different regions, different social norms. The something will be effective. That means you need to change the way to market it because of different language, different culture. And second one is the administrative distance. That means the policy of that country or um, the currency system of that country that might affect your entry into that market. Okay, so the third one is the geographic distance. That means the physical remoteness, that how far away is from your country, from the headquarters of the company, size of the country. Did that country adjacent to your country have has a common border or not? If that means if your product is like fragile or perishable, that means you need to take these reasons, take these elements into consideration. Okay. Also, it will in fact the transportation cost. The fourth one is economic distance. That means um, the people in this country might have different consumer income. Okay, so that means when you want to introduce your service or product into the country, you have to consider the your cost of the um, of the product, like the Big Mac index. So the same product, the price in different country are different. Okay. Okay. The third question about this chapter is how firms compete internationally. Um, so professor gave us these three dimension, but it's not appear in the textbook. So you need to remember it. So the first one is a foreign direct investment. That means a direct investment in production or business in one country by a business from another country. The second one is multinational firms, firms that sell or produce in multiple countries. And the last one is globalization, the spread of the business across national borders. So the difference between the multinational firms or the globalization is multinational firms that means the one firm or one product appear in multiple countries, but globalization that means it try to appear in the uh, every country as many as possible. So that is globally, not only like multinational. Okay. Uh, so in the professor lecture, also the textbook, there's two uh, dimension of how they achieve uh, their internationally movement. So the first one is local responsiveness. That means the customization for local market. So you need to fit into the local culture or local social norms if you want to release a same product. So you need to add some cost into that product. Okay, so it will not save your cost if you want to if you prefer or have to choose a local responsiveness. Okay, the second one is global integration. Also, you can call it standardization. I will introduce it in next slides. But that means consistent across different countries. That means they try to standardize it into different market. That means they use the same standard to release or introduce product into different countries. Okay. In professor lecture, I think he used a local responsiveness and standardization. So the global integration is very similar to standardization. So also in the textbook, they use this way to show up. So you can say it is the same thing because second one is towards the standardization to help you to save the cost. Okay, so in this slides, I will introduce more about the global integration. So look this graph, you can see there's two dimension. The x-axis, there is a pressure for, sorry, I missed something. So it should be local responsiveness, and the y-axis, it should be pressures for standardization. So every company, they have two pressure when they want to step into a new market. Okay, so you need to find a balance between these two dimensions. Okay, so the first one is a multi-domestic strategy for the global integration. It will emphasize local responsiveness over standardization, like food industry or media industry. Like the Coca-Cola have almost the same recipe in different countries. Okay, so you can see the graph. That means if you put a plot dot into this graph, it should appear into here. It will have higher standardization. Okay. Oh, sorry, it should be here. It should have higher local responsiveness. It should be here. So here's a question. If a company want to have a higher local responsiveness rate over standardization, it is cost leadership or different strategy. My example is wrong here. So food or media in different countries should be different. So the Coca-Cola example is wrong. Okay. So if you want to step into a new market, the recipe of the or the taste of the food should be different. Also, the media, you need to use different language. Okay. So the question is it a, so for the company, they need to use a cost leadership or differentiation strategy for the multi-domestic strategy here. You can answer in the chat box. Okay, no. Okay, so for here, because it use more resources to achieve higher. Okay, what's the question? So the question is here under the multi-domestic strategy. If the company used multi-domestic strategy, it is a coaster leadership or differentiation strategy. If they want to achieve local responsiveness, it is a cost leadership or differentiation. Which one they want to achieve? Yes, it's a differentiation strategy. Okay, good. So the second one is the global strategy. That means the company will emphasize global standardization and the economy of scale over local responsiveness, like Red Bull and Apple. Okay, they have same product, same standardization, same iPhone, same iPad, or same recipe of Red Bull into different market. Okay. Like you can see this guy, Terry Henry, he serves New York Red Bull before, several years ago. And who know, everybody know which country is original country of the Red Bull at the very beginning.
Australia?
So the company, so many manufacturers in Austria, not Australia, it's Austria, but its origin is from Thailand. So it's a traditional beverage in Thailand, and a businessman from Austria introduced into the other countries, and so the taste of the Red Bull is so different uh, from the Thailand Red Bull. Okay, so if you can see the logo is appear in the Thierry Henry's the jerseys, you can see is like European version of the Austria version Red Bull. I think in the US market, almost every Red Bull is Austria version Red Bull. But you can see there's a Thailand language on the can of the beverage. That's the version of the Thailand version Red Bull. Okay, so question is this, so for the global strategy, it is cost leadership or differentiation strategy. I can say Yiming said is cost leadership. Like for the Red Bull here is a cost leadership. It can achieve a cost leadership because like for the Austria Red Bull, almost every Red Bull you can see is from it is manufactured in Austria. So the manufacturer of the Red Bull Austria was adjacent to the headquarters of Red Bull in Austria. So it can help them to achieve the cost leadership. But for Apple, even though they can achieve the cost leadership, but the Apple has the strategy of differentiation strategy. So it's different from other smartphone or other services or other product like Samsung or Huawei or any other that these portable devices company provide. So for the global strategy, it can achieve cost leadership as well as differentiation strategy. Okay, so the next one is arbitrage strategy. That means buy low, sell high. It's quite simple. So there's 4 ways you can achieve the arbitrage strategy. The first one, economic. Arbitrage is just an apparent meaning of arbitrage, buy low, sell high. And capital arbitrage, that means like some market has lower capital costs, so you can borrow money from that market. And third one is cultural arbitrage. That means like the culture of one company that might be a selling point in another country. That's why like so many like Japanese culture can go globally so easily. That's culture arbitrage. The fourth one is administrative arbitrage, and that means the policy of the country is different. So that means the tax of some companies might be different. Like it seems it's very same. Like if you want to buy some product, you might go to Oregon to avoid the tax, right? It's the same thing for the business. Okay, so the tools you can use to decide before the internalization. So the professor mentioned the SWOT and Pastel. We have learned before. Okay, any question for chapter 9? No? Okay. Chapter 10, innovation strategy. So there's three topic of this chapter. What is innovation and the understanding business model, and then categories of innovation strategy. So the concept of innovation is very easy, and I think you need to remember what is radical innovation. That means innovation that draws different knowledge based technology or methods to deliver value in a unique way. Okay. Innovation strategy is a concept, very easy. So the SumTech we have discussed in the class, so you need to understand the business model by these 9 dimensions. And it not appear in the textbook. I think professor mentioned you need to remember it will appear in your final exam. So any question about your assignment, because it will be due tomorrow?
I do have a question.
Okay.
Was that the same one we were working on yesterday, correct?
Yes. So we work on the SumTag year's day, so you need to submit tomorrow. Is that your question?
Can you repeat that?
So your question is like we work on the SumTag year's day, right?
Yeah, it was the same assignment as yesterday.
Yes, yes, correct. Any other question? I think it's quite simple because almost everything appear on the canvas. On the very end, there is a chart, and you can follow the word on that, and you can finish by tomorrow. Okay. So the next one is the categories of innovative strategies. So there are so many category of innovative strategy on the textbook, but professor only mentioned 2 of them. The first one is reconfiguring the value chain to eliminate activities. Okay, like the Amazon, they eliminate so many distribution channels, so they don't need to they don't need so many physical shop to sell the products to sell the goods to the customers. So that means eliminates the activities appearing in the value chain. Okay. The second one is the blue ocean strategy. That means create new markets by targeting non-consumers. That you need to create a very unique or another new image for the customers. That this group of customer might not be your uh, your original group of customers. Like Amazon, they introduce the Kindle e-reading solution or drone delivery, cloud-based computing, Amazon Prime, or 1 hour delivery. In the US market is like the blue ocean strategy. Okay, the opposite strategy for the blue ocean strategy is red ocean strategy. That means you step into a very fierce competition. Okay, so if you now want to introduce a new smartphone that can be mm, a red ocean strategy. Also, like if the market now, like for the game console, we have a PS4 and like the Xbox. So that means if you want to introduce another console, then also the red ocean strategy. Okay. So any question about your project, you can ask me here. We still have 10 minutes left. Have you all finished your meeting with the professor? Okay. So one thing I want to mention is for the short term, because we have short term, midterm, and long term strategy. So for short term, I have two advices for you. The first thing is because short term, if your idea is very out of box, it's very hard to achieve, so it's not reasonable. So the two dimension you can achieve the short term is you can look up on the internet like for the ceramic material, what kind of stuff is very easy and to market, very easy to sell. You can produce that kind of product, or you can think some idea of your 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 activity of your company. Do you want to eliminate some activity of your company to or value chain of your company to reduce the cost, to help the parent company to save the cost? That means you can make a living. Because parent company now want to outsource your activity to another company. So that means the first thing you need to make a living by yourself. So there are two dimensions. First one, look for some product is very easy to sell or to market. And second one is eliminate some activity of your company to reduce cost. Okay. Okay, if you don't have any question about your project, I think we're almost done. And lastly, I want to remind all of you guys, okay, Tina, you want to talk with me after class? No problem. Okay, so after class.
Yeah, it's like because we all have different ideas. So
No problem. Okay, I will
Okay,
stay
thank
here.
you.
No problem. The Sumta case assignment will due tomorrow, is same as before. So you should neglect the extended here. And the second one, Tuesday quiz chapter 11 and 12. And third one, mini case something due next Thursday. So not Friday, it's Thursday. I just checked out yesterday, so don't submit on Tuesday. Okay. If you don't have any question, you please feel free to leave and have a good weekend. And if you have any question, please ask me. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
You.
Thanks, Watson.
Mhm. Yash, just submit the discussion. Okay. You just submit the you never submit everything before, or you just submit like maybe the 6 week or 5 weeks, week 5's discussion, or you miss all the thing at the very beginning and then you just submit all the thing 2 days ago. I'm not sure.
Hi, yeah. So I finished like the first 3 weeks, but I couldn't do the week 4, 5, and 6.
Okay.
So I think I finished all of them together 2 days ago. So
Okay.
is it fine? Like, do you like is this like will I still get credit for it or?
Okay, so because the professor mentioned you have to finish the first half of the discussion board last week, so it might ruin a little bit of your score. Okay.
Oh, all right. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Some text. Yeah, you mean the some text deal tomorrow. Okay, so if you don't have any question, I will end the meeting. And Tina, we can have another meeting room. I will send you a link. So don't leave.
Okay.
I can send you here.